Hi, I'm Wayne Hudson. I'm coming to you today from the campus of the Home of Grace in Van Cleve, Mississippi. And a while back I had Yogi Taylor up for an interview, and he shared some incredible information that I would like for you to see again today. So without further ado, here's Yogi. What would you say, based upon your past experience with addiction issues and ministries and where you are now at the Home of Grace, what would you say are the most striking differences that you've known in those previous ministries versus our philosophy here at the Home of Grace?
Well, there's a difference between some of the ministries where I served, and the difference between addiction ministry in general from a secular point of view versus the worldview that we carry. I would say, first and foremost, let me address the latter. The latter is that we have a very Christ-centered approach to addiction. In fact, our vision statement, our mission statement, our vision statement says offering freedom from addiction through Christ-centered recovery. And that right there, it sets us apart from anything secular, really. When you say Christ-centered recovery, offering Christ-centered recovery, we do not see addiction as a disease. We don't see it as a medical disease. That is, we believe that there are medical components that result from addiction, but not necessarily the cause. Doesn't mean that we don't agree that there are nurture and nature issues. It doesn't mean that we don't agree that there are some forms of chemical imbalance, as you would say. We understand all that, but by and large, what we understand it to be is we understand addiction to be idolatry, and we understand recovery not simply as the absence of substance abuse, but we see recovery as transformation. And those are two very fundamental foundations that have to be laid if we're going to take a Christ-centered approach to addiction.
Let me ask you this. In your opinion, if you were able to speak to every family member of our residents who come here, what would your advice to them be as far as their response while their loved one is in the program, and also when they come home after they graduate from the program?
Well, there's a generic answer, and then there's also a specific answer. The specifics to that would be tailored to each family's need, of course. But generically, if I could answer that, I would say, I think when family members reach the point, whether it's your husband, whether it's a son, whether it's whoever this family member is, I think there needs to be some form of counseling on the family's behalf, and sometimes that's very adequate pastoral counseling. Pastors, if they're worth their grit, will definitely be able to counsel from the pulpit. But there are many who are gifted in counseling, one-on-one and counseling sessions, and offering great counsel. And in that counseling, I would say they need to talk about healing. Need to talk about what's appropriate, address issues such as enabling, address issues such as manipulation and isolation. Need to know what those red flags are, what signs are to look for in an individual who's going to rehab. Because when they come back, more than likely they're everything's good. Everything we say good, great. It's all good and gravy. But over time, the struggles come. And that season kind of passes a little bit, and then reality sets in. That honeymoon phase kind of wears out a little bit.
Speaking of which, would you also say that Forgiveness is also a big issue.
Absolutely.
That should be
Forgiveness,
dealt with.
rejection, all of those things for
And
sure.
trust, to trust again and
Trust.
work toward trusting.
And all of that, and expectations. What should we expect, and what we know, and what realistic expectations should there be? And then I would say upon return, and really before then, but especially upon return, the issue of boundaries need to come in play. We need to talk about part of the expectations are the boundaries that need to be set. So when a client returns home, he graduates on Friday. Family needs to go out to eat or to have dinner or spend some time and say, this is the boundaries. Okay, this is just some things that we're going to do, and build in some accountability. And with that accountability, there's consequences. And most people, they're really good about setting the boundaries.
Right.
But the accountability and consequences that follow, if that's not there, then the boundaries don't matter. And so I would say all of these things mentioned, and I'm sure I'm leaving out a plethora of other things that need to be part of that conversation. But those things are very, very, very important.
Did anything just pop into your head that you haven't shared that you'd like to share while we're still
Sure.
together?
Well, I began to answer the question, what sets us apart and from secular, but I would tell you that the other part of that question that I didn't get to was some of the differences between other ministries I've served versus this ministry. And one of those is this, and I think it's very important. A lot of 501c3s ministries, nonprofit ministries, they function as businesses that do ministry. And here at the Home of Grace, there is a rich culture of we are a ministry that does some business.
Right.
And that's a world of difference. Our heart is not for the business aspect. Our heart is not here to make money, to get rich, none of these things. Our heart is for the men, and the men, we're always doing everything we can to improve the quality of care to these men. And then we have to do some business, obviously. We got to pay bills.
Pay the light bill, yeah.
We don't pay on our good looks, not on these good looks.
Nor here.
But I would say that is a big difference for some of the other places I've been, and it makes me proud to work here.
Hope you found that as interesting and beneficial as I did. We'll look forward to seeing you again next time on A Cup of Grace. I'm Wayne Hudson. Join us again. Thank you.